Hello everybody, my name is Average Election Enjoyer. Today is August 14th of 2026, and this video is going to be breaking down the Wisconsin governor's primaries that we saw from both Republican and Democratic parties here. Republican, will get out of the way because it was a much less competitive and sort of interesting contest, where we saw Tom Tiffany dominate the primary, getting 95% of the vote and winning every single county in Wisconsin. So congrats to Tom Tiffany for that, for winning the Republican nomination. And then we saw a major upset. We saw Francesca Hong, a progressive, be defeated by David Crowley by only a couple thousand votes here, like 3,800 votes, something like that. That is all that David Crowley won by. We look at this map, obviously significantly more competitive here. And this was such an interesting map because a lot of the results were unexpected. If you were watching Steve Kornacki, NBC's broadcast, you know that a lot of these county results were unexpected. Because usually in how races go is they're able to sort of have a basis of either candidate support, and if that candidate is not hitting those goals, then the other candidate is winning, and vice versa for either side, encroaching on each other's territory, stuff like that. But in this race is very interesting because each candidate did surprisingly well in places that they were not expected to, really. Base example is Crawley did much better in Dane than expected. Everyone expected this to be very progressive land. This is going to be Hong's place of support here, but instead she would only receive an 11,000 vote plurality out of Dane County, which is a significant, cause problems for her campaign here. Another thing to point out is the massive turnout that was seen on the Democratic side. Republicans combined, you can see they got like 49,000 votes, something like 490,000 votes total. Democrats had 600,000 votes just with the first two candidates, and then you can see lots of candidates adding on with tens of thousands of votes here. Combined turnout of like almost 800,000. So this was another theme that we saw, Democrats dwarfing Republicans in this competitive primary here. And this is also interesting because this is contrary to what we saw recently in Michigan, where we saw progressive Abdul El-Sayed defeat Stevens there. Establishment versus progressive were progressive while not doing nearly as well as many expected, still taking out the victory, while here the progressive suffers a upset loss, I would say. Another place is the fact that Crowley did so well in Milwaukee here, but not super well, of course, only winning by a couple points, but he won the county. Milwaukee, obviously a major city, so is usually more progressive. So this was a good performance by him, as well as in the WoW counties over here. Crowley really running it up on Hong in several of these counties here, getting, let's see, 5,000 vote plurality out of Waukesha there. And of course, Hong surprisingly did some of her surprising bases of support are some of these more rural counties, that it was expected that she wouldn't be winning in some of these more rural areas, but she was able to net pluralities out of some of these counties. But then Crawley just sort of it was just a competitive all-around election. Not a lot of people expected this result that we see. They didn't expect David Crowley to win, let alone, do so well in several of these counties that he wasn't expected to. They didn't expect Francesca Hong to do as well in some of these other areas that she did. So all around, this was just a very interesting election. And of course, this does have electoral implications. Francesca Hong is known for making several controversial statements. A lot of people are ranking this race as no longer particularly close. They think Crowley is going to decisively defeat Tom Tiffany. While if it was a Tiffany versus Hong matchup, it was almost a toss-up. So this is going to put the governor's race back into what is likely Democratic hands here, because Crowley is likely the more electable candidate just being it's a swing state, Midwest state, maybe not as friendly to progressives as other areas are, obviously. Um, so this was a very big election. It stopped what we sort of see as something of a Tea Party from from the more progressive sides of the Democrats in winning these big swing state primaries, but that sort of enthusiasm, the gravy train sort of stopped pouring there for a second for the progressives, and we just sort of have to see how these primaries continue to carry out. Um, yeah, so I'd like to thank you guys for watching this video, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day.